Ferguson City Council meeting for September the 24th. Our opening ceremony, the meeting is now called to order. Let us stand for a silent prayer, and Councilwoman Lipka would like to do a verbal prayer. And remember the family of Officer David Lee. Now we have to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are ready to get started. At this time, we'll have our public comments. We didn't do the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilman Noah,
Here.
Councilman Palmer,
Here.
Councilman Kassoff,
Here.
Councilwoman Robinette,
Here.
Mayor Jones,
Here.
Councilman Lipka,
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
A quorum is present at this time.
Mayor Jones,
Yes, Councilwoman Noah.
I would like to make an motion to amend the agenda. I would like to amend the agenda to have each individual council member's name who supports introducing resolutions 2024-43, 2024-44, and 2024-45 added to each resolution.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Are there discussion?
I didn't understand what you said.
Okay, I can repeat it. I can repeat it.
Don't speak into the mic.
Is that better? Okay. I would like to amend the agenda to have each individual council member's name who supports introducing resolutions 2024-43, 2024-44, and 2024-45 added to each resolution. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, nice second.
Point of order, that's not an amending of the agenda. That is an amending of the resolution itself. And I believe that's out of order at this time.
You can amend it before or right before you get to the resolution.
And we're not on the resolution now.
You
so.
could do either or. Well, it's been properly moved in second, so that's your discussion. So what did you have to say?
Well, the reason for this is because the three resolutions that are on the agenda, two of them I did respond in email stating that I wanted to co-sponsor. And one of them I didn't even know was going to be on the agenda, which I believe is resolution, here they are right here. So resolution 2024-45. This is my fourth year on council. And usually that is introduced by all council members. And I know that there was a bill that we approved that it won't be stated all council members. However, I'm curious to know how one council member's name got added for it to be introduced by one council member, but when I was never asked if I wanted to sponsor that resolution. Resolution 2024-44 with the contracting, Spencer contracting and the ARPA funding, there was an email sent out, and I remember responding to that email stating that I would also like to sponsor the resolution. And then with 2024-43, there was an email sent out, Dave sent it out, asking for a council input. And I also responded yes to that email. So my ask to this council, to staff, whoever wants to respond, is, how did some council members' names get added to the resolutions to introduce the resolutions and some did not? Who made that decision? Because when I received the agenda, those names were already included, which means there must have been some type of conversations had. So,
Councilman Castle.
With all due respect, Councilor Noah, this is much ado about nothing. If you support a resolution, vote for the resolution. The only purpose of sponsorship is to put the resolution on the agenda because legislation must be initiated by a member of the body. So, we've already been over this in emails, which you didn't choose to respond to. This agenda has been out there since last week, and you just sent an email this evening asking to change it. Now you want to take time to deal with something completely insubstantial here. In the future, if you want to co-sponsor a resolution, which frankly is pointless because it does absolutely nothing, you're always free to do that, either when it's offered up by staff or by other members, or when you get the agenda on the Thursday prior to the meeting. But as I said, the only purpose of sponsorship is to get it on the agenda. It's already on the agenda. So coming to the meeting and wasting everybody's time on this non-issue is, I think, really inconsiderate of everybody that's here.
Councilwoman Noor.
and I respect his comments. However, I responded to the agenda that was sent out. I responded on Sunday. And I responded to the emails that were sent out from staff. I responded to the email regarding, it wasn't exactly regarding the resolution because there was no resolution number at the time for 2024-44, but I did respond to the email regarding this subject. I responded to the email regarding 2024-43. And if it's not a big deal, then why is your name the only name on two of those resolutions? My request is for my name to be added. If other council members don't want their names added, that's fine. But my request is for my name to be added and for there to be a process, like Octavia sent out an email last week dated September 24th. That's the subject, asking how she would move forward with two resolutions that will be introduced in October. So that's the proper way of doing things, sending it out to council and allowing time for a response.
I call the question.
1 minute, Councilman Williams.
Nick, I think you're being a little too harsh on her, but I do agree with you. So back in Atlanta, Tyler Perry used to donate a lot of money to, like, if your house got burnt down, or he would see people cleaning up trash. And a lot of times he would do it anonymously. He didn't want people to know. So is the reason why you want your name on it, you want to get shine? When you do something, it should be for the betterment of the people who elected you, not for yourself. So does it really matter if your name is sponsored with it? If you agree with the bill or not, just vote on it. But, we shouldn't do stuff for us. We should do stuff for the people who elected us. So having your name with the bill, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's not about us. It's about what the people want.
Councilwoman Lipka.
I would also add that in some of these situations, the resolutions were initiated by questions and research done by the particular council that are listed on there as a spot. So, those people aren't, well, I mean, like, I'm on two of them. I'm out. Doing this because I see a problem. I think that if the person's doing this, then their name should be. if it is a situation where staff has reached out, it is simply, and I'm sure staff has lines who would reach out to you and they want different council members. That situation clean. The mic. Okay. Just to keep that situation clean and fair, I would assume that the staff will take turns reaching out to different council members. But I don't think that your name being on a resolution, if you had nothing to do with it, is imperative. If you, the imperative part of any resolution is the vote. So whose name is on it doesn't matter. It's not, you know, as I said, I'm on 2 of them. I'm not going to be here after April, so I'm not doing it for kudos. I also know that some of the other council members whose names are on here have done the work. And I know, Noah, when you did the work, your name was on there. So you had some that we've already gone through. So I think this is a whole lot of nothing. And I think we just need to unify ourselves by voting things together. So
Councilman Cassoff, and then we'll move on.
I'd like to call the question.
Thank you, call for the question. Okay. So we'll move on. Do you all want to vote on this, or you don't want to vote on it? You'll move on.
Move on.
Okay.
They withdraw the motion.
Let me say this. Councilwoman North says she sent the information and it didn't get where it was, and that's why she's bringing it up tonight. So we're gonna move on, but in the near future, if you want to be a sponsor of a bill, call, text, email, do it all. Okay. I know I still have a motion on the floor. Are you ready to vote?
No, there was no second.
I second the motion.
Oh, you seconded. Oh, okay.
That's why you called for a question. So all in favor to add Councilwoman North's name to the bills that she said she sent in, her name was omitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
The nays have it. Let's move on. At this point, we'll have our public comments. We have 2 comment sheets out there tonight. We have one for the public hearing and one for the public comments. You have 3 minutes. You'll get a 3 minutes warning. If you go beyond that, I'll hit the gavel, and beyond that, we will escort you out. At this time, we ask that you speak up, speak into the mic. There is a bad echo in here, but we still ask that you speak up and give us your address. So, Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the first person?
Jerry Null.
Just hold the button.
3 seconds. Hold it down.
He's coming.
Okay. I think, okay, now it's working. Well, thank you. Mayor Jones, City Council, I wanted to share with you a little bit of history about Ferguson that many residents who lived here even 20 or 25 years don't know much about. I've been here 27 years and I only learned about this relatively recently. In 1994, that was 30 years ago.
Jerry, we have you down under special presentation, not under public comment to the history of the CRB.
No,
because
no,
it's gonna take
this
more than 3
no, this
minutes.
doesn't have anything to do with the CRB.
Okay,
you reset my time?
Restart your time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. I can talk a little longer. Okay. So in 1994, about 30 years ago, it was apparent that the city of Ferguson was experiencing changes that were leading to white flight. In response, the city made a conscious effort to ease the transition to greater racial diversity. Community leaders hosted the Oak Park Exchange Conference at Flow Valley Community College to consider proposals for stabilizing the city. This meeting took place in October of 1994. This is some of Ferguson's history. Oak Park is a suburb of Chicago, and it had hosted 17 conferences prior to the Ferguson event. The conferences shared strategies for integration that the city of Oak Park had found to be successful. Representatives of Oak Park presented their findings at the Ferguson event. The conference was held 30 years ago this October, and it showed great leadership and foresight by the city council at that time, the mayor at that time, Mike James, and the city manager at that time, Robert Burns. Several current day initiatives trace their roots to that conference. FNIP, which we're all familiar with, the Ferguson Neighborhood Improvement Program, that came out of that conference. Proud, the organization I'm representing tonight, people reaching out for unity and diversity, started after that conference. So Proud's mission is to sponsor opportunities that encourage Ferguson residents to work together to build a community of harmony and equity. And we're recognizing that 30th anniversary of the Oak Park Conference by hosting a 2-day conference, also at Flow Valley, the same place where the original conference was, on Friday, October 18th and Saturday, October 19th, to consider how Ferguson has changed over the last 30 years, what worked, what didn't work, what initiatives we should look at implementing going forward. So I want to consider this an invitation for everybody, the mayor, the council, the public, to come to the meeting, to come to the conference. You can read more about it at proud-ferguson.org and on the link for Oak Park Conference. There's going to be a Friday afternoon, a Saturday morning, and a Saturday afternoon session with keynote speakers and breakout sessions. Tickets can be purchased there online or at Styletaneous Styles or Hive Cafe here in Ferguson on South Florissant. There's a video on the website of a professionally made 10-minute video of the 1994 conference. I'd encourage anybody to go to it and watch it. You'll see people like Bob McGartland, 30 years ago, 30 years younger. Stan Kreitler, the former Parks Department leader that I think you all knew him. Nancy Whitener, Hank Ankerbrand, and other people. You may recognize yourself if you were there. Anyway, thank you very much.
Can you share with us the pricing and the time?
Excuse me?
Can you share with us the price of those tickets and the times of those conferences?
Yeah, so it's Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon. So each individual tickets for individual sessions are $30 for the package of all the sessions. And each of the session comes with either lunch or breakfast, depending on whether it's the afternoon or the morning. A package for the whole thing would be $75. There's a reception on Friday night that's separate from the events. That's going to be to recognize some of the people that were there at the very first conference. I believe the former mayor, Mike, let me see. I didn't know him at the time, but I think it's Mike James. Yeah, I believe he's going to be there, and some other people that were at the conference originally. And that's $40 for the reception. That's going to be like hors d'oeuvres. It's going to be Friday night about 5:30. And then the total package would be $100 if you wanted to go to all 3 sessions and the reception.
Could you give that information to the acting city clerk?
I'll have to write it down. It's just in my scrambled notes
Okay.
here. Okay. Yeah, thanks for asking,
Did you get?
Councilwoman.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have, is it Stuart, is it Stiles?
Good evening, everyone. My comments will be will be laconic. I want to do a quick correction. I said Patterson a couple weeks ago as far as my road is concerned. I meant to say Parker, so it's Bruce and Parker. So a lot of the residents on my street really don't like driving down that stretch of Parker simply because the roads are extremely uneven, roads out in suspension, so they go down Bruce and Adams. So I just thought, hey, let me just, be an advocate for my block. And so if you can look at that, Councilwoman Robinette. All right. And of course, fall is coming, and I understand, I really appreciate the magazines and the newspapers that come to my mailbox and fills it up like spam. But I love reading it. However, I wanted to know if there is possibly, and you can probably answer this, like email updates and text message. We did a multi-pronged economic development plan with the city of Bridgeton when I was in Focus St. Louis, and we sent out like QR code leaflets to each resident in order for them to be a part of like texting, like text updates or email updates. And then they can fill out the form and choose specific things that they wanted to be updated on. I'm great when it comes to that. So if you guys can come up with a system that deals with like, texting updates on specific things that we want to see, if you already have that, great. I want to know that. Also, there was an event that happened today, an unfortunate event of a man by the name of Marcellus Williams, who was unjustly executed today. And so I would like to take the next 10 seconds as a moment of silence and solidarity for injustice in our state. Thank you. All right, and my last comment is there was an event that I was a part of that I think that would be great with, once again, children and police officers. And it's probably something that we thought of in the spring and summer. It's called Cops with Pops. Amazing event. So pretty much it's inviting all the children to get free popsicles and free ice cream. So you like, hey, Cops with Pops. I love it. It's a good idea. Maybe the Ferguson Police Department can use that for next spring and summer. All right, thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
And the next person we have is Daryl White West. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm glad to be here. I'm the president of the HOA for.
We can't hear you. Could you speak up?
I am the president of the HOA for Somerset Park, and I'm here to represent some of the issues that we are having at the Somerset Park area. That's right off where, if no one that's not familiar with it, it's right where the Quick Trip is. So we have a serious problem with high grass and weeds in the back of it. And last year, we just moved in this area, 22. So in 23, they did cut the weeds down. Now they are very high and everything else. I'll let my wife tell what she has seen.
Due to the height of the weeds and the grass back there, it makes it easy for trash to be dumped. We now have a hawk and a fox in the area because they think it's wildlife. All right. So we want to know, my husband, as he said, is the president. So they have discussed the owner. So everyone knows who the owner is. That person does not, of course, live here in Missouri. Hard to track down. So if you all could help our area, because we do pay HOA, how do we go about? Does the city of Ferguson put a lien on that person's property or what have you? Because it is probably about as high as this podium, if not a little taller. Do you all have any guidance on that? And then real quick, before my time goes up, can you answer? In the entryway of that area between Quick Trip and the Dollar Tree, that's West Florissant and Somerset Terrace Drive. That area, the pavement is horrible. That needs to be paved. Everybody drives all over because there's no divides of line to show what lane or what have you. If you're coming out of our area to make a left on the West Florissant, and even if you cross over to the Walmart, there is a dip. And eventually I'm afraid that that might become a sinkhole. I don't know what that does to other people's properties. So that's something that we like. You guys were nice enough before when the rhubarb was showing, that got taken care of right away last year, and that was amazing. But we're looking to get that because people drive in and dart out all over the place. And that's just a safety hazard that we're looking to.
City manager, assistant city manager.
I'll speak to the weeds first. If you contact our office tomorrow, we can have code enforcement come out and ticket it. There's a process. Basically, we would ticket it first, notify the owner. They have so many days to remedy it. If they don't, we can go as far as putting a special tax assessment on their property that has to be paid. We can abate it, we can mow it, but there's a process for that. So just contact me. I can get the addresses that are in question. We can take care of that for you. In regards to the pavement, that's something I'll get with our public works director and discuss what our best options are. But if you'll give me a call tomorrow, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. Not a problem.
Ma'am, you can also reach out to myself and David as we are your council representatives for that area.
All right,
I'm
thanks.
Linda Lipka and this is David Williams.
Okay.
And Miss Vivian is not the chair anymore.
They do work together still.
Oh, okay.
She's a co-chair. He took over, she passed the baton, but
Okay,
she does
good.
still work with it.
Okay. Go
Thank you
Marquette.
all.
Go Marquette.
Next on the list is Miss Erica Brooks.
Ms. Brooks?
First of all, I want to recognize City Councilwoman Linda Lipka. I know I have been up here several weeks addressing the situation of being disrespected by her as well as David. And after the meeting, she took time out, we took time out to discuss the situation and came to an agreement of an apology. On the other hand, David still on the situation of not apologizing or responding or recognizing his disrespectfulness. This evening, I bring that to a close because, like I say, I can't retrain a grown man to be respectful to women, regardless of what temperament you might have as an individual or what situation you may go through at home. But as a council person that represents our community, I should well see respectfulness as a man and as a leader. Anyway, besides that, I want to come to this, readdress the situation about the bill 7282 as far as how you all have revised it, the different things that were done to reform it and bring it to a situation of where we know and understand what things are going to be done. Because I know in what you all had presented that day, as Councilwoman Lipka had said, that it would discourage people from owning a home because of the prices of the fees and whatever else. And so I'm trying to see if you all have had you all's table talk, workshop, whatever it took to come to an understanding as to how things are going to be a promotion for should I say, a promoting event to be able to be like a new homeowner here in Ferguson. And also, when it comes to the inspections, are you all gonna still do internal inspection in people's houses? Because from what I understand, you all said that you want to do internal inspections annually. And as I said then, I feel like that's a dictatorship when you have to come to somebody's home every year to inspect it, whereas the state, I mean, the county inspects only externally. So it's like a lot of factors that you all had discussed that I'm trying to see, have you all broken that down to where the public can hear it before it's written in stone as to how the accreditation for inspection and licenses are going to be given? I mean, so occupancy permits going to be given. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
The next name we have on the list, I think it's Akron. They're on Frost Avenue. ACR. Oh, Adrian. Okay, sorry.
Mr. Shropshire.
There's no forgiveness for that.
No, I'm
Fancy
sorry. I
writing,
didn't see your
fancy
name.
writing.
Good evening, council.
Good evening, Mr.
Good
Shropshire.
evening, citizens and the mayor. This evening,
I'm here to discuss about the debacle that we had last week about the Ground Zero restaurant and event space. I think we share part of the problem because we have not updated our business application. I think we need to put an attachment onto the business application on the steps that each person has to go through. We have the same thing with planning and zoning. They rent the property, do the work, then they come and talk to us. That's the cart ahead of the horse. I think we need to have steps that come to the council, state your case, and then go from there. We have to start doing better and letting the people know what they have to do. And I don't know if we have it in there, but I know there's been 2 or 3 daycares that's come to planning and zoning, and they've already done paid the rent, they've already done bought the building. And I think it would behoove us just to look at it and see what we can do to make the people a little bit more wise on coming to the council first, speaking, letting us know what they're going to do, and then move on from there. Steps A, B, and C. I want to talk about too, we have 42 homes that we're going to be demolishing. Do we have a pollution plan? That's serious. We don't know if these homes have any kind of asbestos or any kind of other chemicals inside these homes. I know Mr. Palmer, he does that abatement before he even gets his men in, because he's had some homes that I saw that was really bad. And I don't see anybody putting the dust on them or anything, awake with the dust. Nobody's watering it down. I want to let everybody know that I went to a disaster readiness training program this weekend. And matter of fact, it was Friday. And it was very, very aware, made me very, very aware of some things that we need to do as a city. Maybe we need to have one of those meetings and training here at the fire department. I think that would be great to do. The Red Cross, the National Disaster Association, they were there. You get a certificate and you're there for about 3 hours, and they talk about disaster readiness. They talk about the ground faults as far as the earthquakes. They talk about the storms, fire, and any other problem that would cause disaster, even flooding. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Sarcha.
Next person we have on the list is Ms. Shirley Emerson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Good evening.
I'm here, I'm Shirley Emerson, and I'm the president of the Forestwood Community Development Corporation. And I'm here this evening to deliver a petition signed by residents of Ferguson. We are requesting that the council deny approval of a liquor license for the business establishment known as Ground Zero, which would be located at 9300 West Florissant. The property is located in close proximity to residential areas that are in Ward 1 and Ward 3. And these areas are heavily populated with families with children. Specifically, the property is adjacent to a residential community along the northern end of Ward 3. And it's only 1 block from the Boys and Girls Club. Also along West Florissant, within the same 4-block area, there are 2 other establishments that sell liquor. So it's our opinion that the addition of another liquor establishment would severely jeopardize the health, safety, and welfare of our children and our adults. And so we are submitting this petition this evening to the council to ask that you please deny this application for a liquor license. Secondly, I do want to let you know that the residents of Forestwood are by and large very pleased with the speed bumps that have been installed. However, the residents along Fargo Avenue are asking that you consider putting some speed bumps along their street. because they are getting a lot of overflow traffic now that it looks like people are trying to dodge High Mount in that vicinity and go around and go through Fargo, and they're speeding through there. So they're asking that you please think about giving them some speed bumps. And third, I do want to thank publicly again the city council and the board of the FNIP. They did have some public meetings, and I want to thank the residents that came out and took advantage of those opportunities to apply for the exterior home repair funds. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with FNIP so that we can establish those public opportunities on a more regular basis for residents to come out and take advantage of those funds. So again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emerson. Ms. Emerson, could you please turn the petition in to the acting clerk? Thank you. Yes, we will be able to take a look. Just before we get to the liquor license, I'll do a 5-minute recess for everyone on the council to be able to take a look at it. Okay?
That's the last of the individuals who signed up in person. I don't see anybody online with their hand raised. I don't see any comments asking for public comments.
Anyone on Zoom? No Zoom? Public comments? Comments have ended. We move to our manager's report. It will be given by our Assistant City Manager, Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing I want to do during the manager's report is introduce our new finance director, Nodrick Tankins. He is present this evening. This is Nodrick. I'm gonna let him come to the podium and just tell you a little bit about himself, but wanted to have the opportunity to introduce him to the public and the council this evening.
Mayor and City Council, thank you for having me. My name is Nodrick Tankins. I am from St. Louis, born and raised. I've been an accountant for almost 20 years now. My most recent job was Special Assistant to the Comptroller, Darlene, representing the city of St. Louis, where I managed a couple $2 billion of their assets as well as their real estate portfolio. I was recruited by Dave and John to come work with you all in Ferguson. I am very excited to be here as finance director and look forward to lending my skills and knowledge to the city.
Thank you.
I am available for questions if you all would like to ask me a little bit more about myself. I can talk forever, so be careful what you wish for.
Well, I know Councilman Castle.
Well, I want to welcome you. Your services are badly needed, and I'm a tax practitioner, so I appreciate what you do. I also want to note that this is the only guy in all the time we've been here at the community center who spoke at that podium and it didn't echo to where I had a hard time understanding it. So I hope that's a good omen for your clarity in the position as we go forward.
So do I. I take that win. And I'm also a tax professional. I do own my own professional services company. So I do taxes and business consultation.
Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Next thing in the manager's report, we are going to bring Prashan Peoples up. She's going to discuss the Good Neighbor Week from our Community Development Department. So Prashan, if you want to come to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I am here to talk about Very Good Neighbor Week. It is a statewide initiative designed to promote acts of kindness, civic engagement, and community building. This year, the city of Ferguson will be participating with a range of activities, including a neighborhood cleanup event, which is scheduled to take place this weekend, September. I'm sorry? Neighborhood cleanup initiative. Yes. And that is scheduled to take place this weekend. So September 29th through, I believe it is October 1st. And the proclamation is that will be presented tonight serves as a formal acknowledgement of the city's commitment to fostering a stronger and more connected community. The proclamation will help publicize the week and encourage participation, aligning with the city's efforts to rebuild trust and improve community relations. So I do have some flyers here that will give more information about what it is the community development event will be about, because we will be, in addition to the police department, who is holding a rally for National Night Out, we will be there to answer any questions that the community has for community development. I know there have been some updates and different things that the community has been inquiring about. So that will be a great time for people to come out and just see what it is that community development, as well as the police departments and things that we're doing with the community. We are also encouraging any neighborhood organizations, if you would like to have a table at that event. It's taking place September 28th from 12 o'clock in the afternoon to 2 o'clock. If you are wanting to have a table, please let us know so that people can come up and ask questions about your neighborhood organizations. Again, I do have flyers to pass out, so and I'm also here for questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thus, in the manager's report, we move to the special presentation. Assistant City Manager.
At this time, we have Jerry Knoll with the Civilian Review Board. He's going to come give an update from them.
Thank you. I apologize, Mayor, for the confusion. Since I was going to be here for the, thank you, for the presentation, I thought I might as well take the time to do a public comment also. And if normally I wear a hat, and if I was wearing my hat tonight, I would have taken off and put on a different hat, because now I'm representing the CRB, not representing Proud anymore. So I hope this presentation answers questions you might have about the Ferguson Civilian Review Board. And if any questions come up, I might pause a few times so you could ask them then or at the end when I finish. So what we're going to cover today is, and some of these slides are recycled from other presentations I've done. What is this FCRB, Ferguson Civilian Review Board? Why was it formed? What has it accomplished in the last 7+ years? So it formed in 2017, so it's been operating for 7.5 years. And then we'll go over some complaint and crime statistics. Okay. This is an interesting view of what the Ferguson Civilian Review Board is. Normally, you might think we'd say something like, well, it was an ordinance passed that established it. It's in the consent decree that Ferguson needs to have a civilian review board. There's lots of things you could say about it, but I think the best view is it's formed of ordinary citizens who have an insight into Ferguson Police Department, FPD operations, and can give them feedback how ordinary citizens view their interactions with the public, because we watch body-worn camera video of some of those interactions, and also give feedback on how we view their investigations, how they investigate complaints. Why was the CRB formed? So here's some quotes from the DOJ report, and I won't go through them all, but basically in 2014 and 15, when the DOJ investigated our police department, there was a lot of negative things they found out about the department. The CRB is there to try to ensure that we don't go back to those old days. So someone's looking, someone's exercising oversight. What has the CRB accomplished in the last 7+ years? Well, we developed the complaint review process from scratch. There really was no process for reviewing complaints. So what we put in place is basically, whoops, I need to go back. When a complaint is lodged, the FPD assigns a number to it. They give it to us, and that's all we have at that point. We just know about the complaint. FPD investigates the complaint. When they're done with the investigation, they make a preliminary disposition and then give it to us and we review their investigation. And then we make our own independent disposition of the complaint, give it back to the chief, and then the chief makes a final disposition. So that's kind of like a four-step process. In the last 7+ years, we've reviewed and made recommendations on over 30 individual citizen complaints. And in most cases, we agree with what FPD's conclusions on it. I think there's been 7 cases where we disagreed. Sometimes we see things going on in body worn camera video interviews, and we make recommendations based on those things. Sometimes we make recommendations for them to improve their investigations and their interactions with the public. One recommendation we made, I think it's a good example of how we try to look at things fairly. If you remember recently, Officer Klaus received an award from the governor, okay? We saw that action by Officer Klaus when reviewing body worn camera video. And one of our recommendations, in addition to other things, was we recommended that he be commended. We didn't think that it would go, and I guess Chief Doyle carried it all the way up to the governor, which is great. But so we make recommendations sometimes to commend our officers when we see really positive interactions. And we saw what Officer Klaus did. We recommended he be commended, and he got a great award out of it. We've also published reports and statistics for the last 5 years, and we'll look at a few of the statistics. So as far as complaints go, we reviewed over 30, 7 we disagreed with, 1 went to mediation, and that's like a function of the complaint process that a lot of people aren't aware of, that we wish it was used more. We see a lot of complaints that we thought, well, the complainant and the officer, it'd be great if they just got together and talked it over. And there's a checkbox on the complaint form where the complainant can check off that they're willing to go to mediation. Most people, I think they overlook it maybe. But if they say, yeah, I'll go to mediation, that'll happen. The officer and the complainant will get together with a professional mediator that walks them through it. And if that resolves things, and that's the end of it. We never see the complaint then because it's resolved by mediation. That's only happened 1 time. We wish it happened more often. And 2 of the complaints ended up in criminal allegations against the officer. Those officers were both fired. And we never saw the complaints because it went to a criminal investigation. We track by officer, and so far we haven't seen any patterns like where like one officer is like having a huge number of complaints, which would be set off alarms. With one exception, we haven't seen any patterns. And in 2024, so far 7 complaints have been submitted. We've got 5 of them, but none of the investigations have been completed on any of them. One of the statistics that I wanted to highlight is both FPD and the CRB, we take too long to resolve complaints. Policy calls for FPD to finish their investigations in 30 days and for us to finish our review in 60 days. And I show there what the averages are from the last 5 years. We're not close to making that at all. Some of it in 2020 and 21 was because of COVID, we couldn't meet, so we couldn't review anything. But anyway, we're far from where we should be, so there's a lot of improvement needed there. Another thing about statistics and complaints is the monitor is currently conducting an audibility audit, and she's met with us, she's reviewed a lot of information, and probably within the next half a year or 9 months, she'll be issuing a report on her independent view of how complaints are handled between FPD and the CRB. I'm going to do the last 3 slides are going to be on crime statistics and trends. So this information is all taken from the FBI database. Virtually all law enforcement agencies around the country submit their information to the FBI on a monthly basis. FPD sends it to the Missouri Highway Patrol every month. The Highway Patrol accumulates it for the whole state of Missouri and passes it on to the FBI. So this is statistics on property crime going back actually like into the 1980s. And when we first started doing this, Dr. Richard Rosenfeld, who was a well-known criminologist, nationally renowned criminologist up at UMSL at the time, he gave us advice on do 3-year moving averages, have trend lines, how to make the data look better. He's since passed away, which was a great loss because he gave us some great advice. But here you can see for property crime, you know, it's kind of gradually gone down over the years. The red line indicates criminal activity. Those are the offenses that are logged, criminal offenses. The green line indicates law enforcement activity, the crimes that are being cleared or solved. So FBI has a definition of when a crime is solved, 3 things have to happen. A person has to be arrested, they have to have charges submitted to them and turned over for prosecution. Okay, if you just arrest somebody but never file any charges, it's not considered cleared. If you never find the person, it's not cleared. So there's 3 specific things have to happen. And you can see, you know, obviously, you know, like the less crimes you have, the less clearances you have. So both of those are trailing down. Now, when we look at the next one, which is violent crime, neither button's working here. Okay, thank you. Violent crime. And the definition of violent crime, these are what's called Part 1 crimes. So violent crime is homicide, rape, aggravated assault, and there's a third one here. Homicide, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. So they're crimes that involve threat of force or the use of force. And as you can see, violent crime has gone up over the years, but I want you to notice, I don't know if this little thing will work here, but if you notice that the 2 are, the upward trend is for the incidents, the violent incidents going up, but there's a downward trend for the number of clearances going down. And the next slide is going to show the crime clearance rates by year for FPD. The red one is the violent crime, the green one is the property crime. And some of these are kind of the trend on violent crime especially is alarming because it shows that our clearance rate, in other words, the number of crimes that are being solved is dropping. And if you could see, long about 2009, 10 is when it started plummeting. So sometimes people say like, well, maybe that's because of the Michael Brown stuff going on in 2014, or maybe it was because Ferguson was understaffed in 2017. Well, this goes back beyond those times. So there's something else that's causing that. I've talked to Chief Doyle about it. I'm hoping that he would be able to find out what might be causing that statistically. And some of you work in manufacturing and statistical process control would know there should be an assignable cause there, because statistically it shows that this process is out of control. That's not a random variation. There should be something that can be found and corrected, but it's a matter of somebody digging in and correcting it. And I've asked Chief Doyle to include clearance rates, clearance information in his reports to you. I hope he does, because just showing the offenses is showing what the criminals are doing, but clearance rates shows what law enforcement is doing. So you need to see both sides of it. What are the criminals doing? What is law enforcement doing? Clearance rates is driven by law enforcement activity. That's all I wanted to go over. I hope you got something meaningful out of it. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Williams?
How do you select the people on the review board to make sure they're not biased one way or the other.
How do we select people? The city council appoints the people on the Ferguson Review Board. So that's up to you folks to, all the people on the Ferguson Civilian Review Board were appointed by city council. People apply. They're appointed to 3-year terms. We can serve 2 3-year terms for 6 years. But we don't select the people on the board. City council appoints them.
Any other question for Jerry? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thus, in our special presentation, we move into our public hearing. I'll now open our public hearing for our 2024 ad valorem tax rate. Assistant City Manager and Finance Director, could you please make the presentation?
Yeah. Do you want to go over, there's nobody signed up, so I don't know if you want any public comment or do you want to go straight to the presentation?
You, presentation first,
Okay.
we hear from the council, then we do the public here, public to council.
Sounds good.
And then we'll close.
All right. So first slide here. As of 2023, the all assessed values for the city are at a 19-year high. Residential and commercial property values declined from 2009 to an all-time low in 2014. Since that time, values have steadily increased, showing investment in the community. Personal property values have also steadily increased during that same period. The next graph here shows 2023 total tax rates for the Ferguson residents versus the 2022 total tax rates. As you can see, 23 had a total overall tax rate decrease of 1.066 per $1,000 or assessed valuation. This slide here, residential assessed valuation has increased by 0.3%. Commercial assessed valuation has increased by 5.4%. While the personal property assessment has decreased by 4.7%. Per Hancock legislation, the tax rate may only increase by new construction and CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, as set by the Missouri Tax Commission. This year, the CPI is 3.4%. All categories for general obligation bond debt service. This debt service rate will allow the city to meet its debt obligations and maintain and hopefully improve its credit rating. We set tax rates for general, parks and recreation, and general obligation debt services. This year, we're proposing the following tax rates for general fund, which is 0.5540, for residential, 0.4930, agricultural, 0.6120 for commercial, and 0.8000 for personal property. For parks and recreation, proposing the following tax rates: 0.1360 for residential properties, 0.1470 for agricultural properties, 0.1660 for commercial properties, and 0.1980 for personal property. Estimated total increase of $36,959 in residential property tax revenues over 23, $57,269 increase commercial property revenues over 23, and approximately $110,314 increase in personal property tax increase over 23. That's everything I had for this. So if there's questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Any questions? Councilwoman Nora?
Can you hear me okay? Is that okay? Okay, thank you, Mayor. It's funny that you would present this today because today is National Assessors Day. I saw that on Facebook. But
National what?
Assessors Day. And we were talking about the assessment of properties. But I would like to ask, what council work went into the 2024, the tax rate that we're discussing in regards to resolution 2024-45? Because we're discussing the resolution that, this is for the resolution, so no council work went into that.
This is all done by the finance department. There's a maximum that we're allowed to assess,
Okay,
and we just base it off the budget numbers. So we're trying to hit the numbers that we forecasted, and that's what the tax rates reflect. So council,
so, okay.
Yes.
So the council approves it, so no council work went into it.
correct, the council approves it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Finance Director, would you like to chair?
Okay, so basically,
Councilwoman Lippitt.
Basically, this is something we do every year. This is housekeeping. So we go through this all the time. And it's just to kind of keep the community up to date as to where your tax dollars are going, how they're being spent, and why they go up and down accordingly. And it also is a nice way to find out that our property taxes are looking better. Our property values, I should say.
I was gonna say, the values
Yeah.
are going up, which is a good thing. To be honest, we try to budget pretty flat. If the assessed value is going up, the tax rate usually goes down. If the property value is dwindling, the tax rate's gonna go up, but there's only so much we can go up and down no matter what. So the goal is to stay as flat as possible.
And just to address Councilwoman Noah's question about, did a council member do this? If you pay attention to what that new legislation is that Mr. Kassoff has been referring to over and over, it's a situation where all legislation has to have some sort of council sponsorship to it because we are the legislators. So that is why. So it doesn't, and as I said earlier, if a council member has done the work, then they should rightly have their name on it. But I do not want you to confuse that with the fact that council members may have their name on something they didn't do the work on if a staff member has asked us to sponsor it so that it is going through the proper legislation process. Just to be clear. Thank you.
Acting clerk, do we have any public members who would like to speak?
I had no one sign up in person for the public hearing, and is there anybody online that wanted to speak? Not seeing any hands up, and I have no comments that have come in yet.
No one signed up? Okay.
No.
At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. We move to our consent agenda. City Council meeting minutes, the regular meeting minutes for 9/10/24. I'm requesting a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second, Linda Lipka.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Boards and commission meeting minutes. We have minutes from the CRB for June the 3rd, July the 1st, and August the 5th. I'm requesting a motion and a second to receive and file the minutes.
So moved.
Second, Heather Reminick.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, we have two appointments for the night, and we have Carolyn Randazzo. She is here tonight. Good to see you. I am appointing her to the Human Rights Commission. That is appointment made by the mayor. We have spoken. We all know Carol works in the community diligently.
Am I wrong? Or are you just really involved in it?
You could be on more than one board. Awesome. But she's not on the library board.
I just always connect you with the library. That's fine.
No, she is not. So Carolyn Randazzo appointed to the Human Rights Commission. We have Maurice King. He's here tonight. Councilperson for FSBD spoke with him. And it's appointment made by council. Council, what is your pleasure?
I would like to make a motion to approve Maurice King for the Ferguson Special Business District.
I second that tremendously.
We ready to poll? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Maurice King, you are appointed to FSBD. At this time, before we move into the liquor license portion, we will take a 5-minute recess for council to look over the petition. 5 minutes. Go in a little circle. Okay. This is fine.
You did a great job. Thank you. You kept them from asking me questions.
Oh, very nice.
Right. the tax rate, that was my first day. I showed up. No, actually, it was my second day. But I showed up. My second day. They're like, oh, yeah, that's it. Do it. So I actually, with the help of one of the David, are you? Well, thank you for saying that. You know, we gotta find a way to work. Take what we have. And I've been expressing this to my team. Yesterday, nobody's laughing. I could swing any fingers that was in. They managed to burn into the charge. And we're gonna do our best to jump in there. This is what happened. When you get your name, you know, let's say you not so very attentive. And you know, we just can't have that. Just let them know that. So don't let me get on my soapbox. I'll be here all day. And never ask me about Star Trek because that's like a 3-day conversation. Which next up, I think Discovery. That's pretty good. We like Star Trek. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I'm excited about it.
Oh, she's doing really good. I can. There should be
I'd rather.
2 minutes left. No, but the last comment came in. So. Yeah, they just brought it back.
I mean, it's more fun.
1 minute.
I'm very frustrated with the line.
I said my piece.
That is a man band. No, that's a man band. Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay.
You know what? It's called walking. Long distance.
Oh, yeah. Right.
All right, we have 5 minutes.
It's worse than I could have imagined. It's almost like they managed to try
Nikita,
activity.
would you grab some of those for me? Councilwoman,
It's insane.
Krishan, can I get some? Just give them to the clerk, please. I think we have exhausted to 5 minutes. The first liquor license is for a new business, Ground Zero. Is the business owner here? Would you please come and speak to the council?
I am online also.
1, 2. Hello?
Yes, I'm online.
Can you hear me?
How you guys doing? First of all, I want to give respect to Ferguson and everybody on
Would
the
you state your
council.
name, please?
I- Alan K. Smith, second. That's all. One more, my brother Aldrich Clerk. Not here, had death in the family today.
I'm online.
You can hear me?
He's on Zoom.
He's
Yep.
on.
All right. First of all, Ground Zero. My beginning understanding of Ground Zero was we had a problem with the name, and now I think it's changed or something. Did it change or something with outside the name? But if you don't mind, I'd like to start with from the beginning of us creating Ground Zero. That area and the place Ground Zero, the land that is on, had a lot of issues, way more than we ever knew. So there's a lot of money and time spent in Ground Zero. We've been working on it since November of last year. It's almost a year now. And everything we've done is under the name of Ground Zero. We wanted to create a very nice event center to create a place to hold different events and give people opportunity to come to a great place. Throughout the course of this, we have used Ground Zero on every application that we done. We branded the name, we put it on our building, our signs, our floors. It's on the bar in there. It's on the walls, the bathrooms. We have painted and created what we thought would represent Ground Zero. The name Ground Zero actually comes from the area it's located. But at the same time, it has nothing to do with taking sides of anybody's side on anything. We watch people come by, take pictures, people from out of town ask questions because we've been there for a year. And that's how we came up with the name Ground Zero. If you're looking for that area, we are right there, and the sign is right there. Just like you would think of Martin Luther King. We don't want to have a bad name or anything. We just representing the area. And that's what the name Martin Luther King Street in every city does. It represents the area. At the same time, for as people wondering and thinking about what Ground Zero is, it's an event center. It's a 35 and older place. And it's going to be somewhere spectacular that you might want to bring your own friends to and enjoy. All right. When you look at people coming at this point in time and saying that this is not what you want in your community, we've had a whole year of discussing this, talking about this, and dealing with this with the whole city and getting inspections and all of that, those type things, coming in and spending more and more and more money to make things right for the city. And now we get to this point and we're having an issue. And I think that we can be better than this and put things together a little bit better than this. The young man back there said himself that there's things that we might need to do before we allow a business to come into play that will help us and would have helped us in spending our money and doing what we did. Ground Zero is a big investment, first of all. Secondly, I want to say for us to change the name or change the location or change anything, it will be a great loss. And I'm not talking about small dollars, a lot of dollars. And I would like for us to consider all of that and consider us as friends and people trying to put together something nice and not something that's harmful. I appreciate your time. I want to let my buddy speak before I run out of time. Thank you.
Well, just really quick here, I just want to say that I think we're being looked at solely as a bar, and that's not what we're we're mainly an event center. We're gonna throw a bunch of, blues concerts, old school, R&B concerts. We're gonna rent it out for weddings, any kind of, occasion that people wanna have. Yes, we will do some bar stuff, but we're mainly operating as an event center. So we just wanna let you all know that. Thank you.
I have, let me say something real quick here. I sent some photos to, Miss Pittman early, last week. I was wondering if she'll be able to show you those photos of the inside of Ground Zero.
I didn't quite understand you, sir.
He said something about some photos that he sent to somebody. that he
I
was-
sent,
Show the photos.
I sent the city clerk some photos to put in a slide. I was asking her to put in a slide to show you guys, what we did with, Ground Zero. Uh, uh, does she have them? Is she able to show them?
They were sent out last week.
Octavia sent us an email that had the pictures in there.
Yeah, those photos were shared with council via email, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so with those photos, what I want to say with those, if it was just easy for us to change the name, we would probably have no problem with that. But right now, it is just be a financial disaster for us to try to change the name because we have it on our tables, our floors, you know, our doors, and we've the ones on the tables and floors we epoxied over. So there's no way we can peel that up. Even if we change the name, Ground Zero would still remain there because it's we epoxied over it. So there's no way we can clean that off. And like I said last time, we didn't build this to create a problem in Ferguson. We want to just come in and be a good business, good neighbors in the city of Ferguson. That's our aim. That's what we can intend to do, and that's what we will do if you guys allow us.
Councilman Williams.
So, this is more of a comment to you guys. I'm probably the only person on this council that's on your side. I know the word Ground Zero resonates feelings with a lot of people that were here when that happened. I wasn't here, so it doesn't matter either way. So I actually looked up Ground Zero clubs. It's a blues club in Mississippi. It's several clubs named Ground Zero. The name doesn't move me either way, but by me being a small business owner, I know what it feels like to bleed out money and you don't have money coming in. And I think a lot of times the people on the council are anti-business. We want businesses to come here because the more taxes businesses pay, the less taxes I have to pay. And so, in my opinion, I think we should grant the license. And then if it's issues we can talk about down the road, but you guys don't have a negative track record in Ferguson. I think we should give you a shot. I honestly don't think you should change the name. I know some people might think differently, but it's a lot of clubs throughout the United States named Ground Zero. And the real Ground Zero to my generation is 9/11. And if you go back further than that is when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. So, you know, it's just a name. It's not a racial slur or anything like that. But I think we should give you guys a chance. And I'm always going to be pro-business. And I think it should be less government, less taxes, and just drop the loopholes and let commerce happen. And I'm glad you guys said that it's going to be an event space. Because this petition here, a lot of people just think, oh, it's another liquor store. It's another liquor store. It's not. Like, you can get married in this establishment, but let's not get it twisted. Liquor makes money. You guys are not doing this for charity. You're trying to make money. So I just hope the council takes that in consideration. Every time a business comes up here, we're always nitpicking and this and that. You didn't do that. You know, to make businesses not want to come to Ferguson. Ferguson should be a place where you can live, work, and play. I would love to see a movie theater here. 35 and up, you know, I don't drink because my dad was an alcoholic, but I might, you know, frequent your establishment for the Super Bowl game or something. We need spots like this. And I think just because it says liquor, and I don't drink at all, I've never been drunk in my life, but we shouldn't get a negative connotation because it's a liquor. How many weddings have you gone to and it's no liquor? It's like, you know, we can agree to disagree on that, but this was more of a comment to your business. So, you know, I'm 100% behind you guys. I don't think you should change your name. And I'm always going to be pro-business, less government, and less tax. Appreciate your time.
Councilman Passall.
I do drink. I'm probably going to have a couple of beers tonight. Not that it makes any difference, but that's the important issues here are, first of all, I understand that you've invested some money, and I'm sorry that you misunderstood the process and invested money before you had received the necessary approvals for the business to go forward. That doesn't give you a claim on the votes of the members of this council, nor does it relieve the members of this council from exercising their judgment as to what's best for this community. Now, our ordinances are very clear that while most businesses can be licensed as a matter of right if they are in an area that the zoning permits the business, liquor licenses are always issued at the discretion of the council, and this body has a duty to consider what's best for the community. We especially ought to give heed to what's best for the community directly surrounding the proposed licensee. And on West Florissant, first of all, we've heard from Shirley Emerson, who is a leader of one of the neighborhoods around there. We reviewed the petitions, and there's a great many signatures from people on the streets that directly adjoin the proposed location for this licensee who are opposed to this moving forward. Council ought not sit silently and ignore the voices of a great many people in that area. And again, I'm sorry that you've made an investment there before the approvals were received, but we still have to go through the process and exercise the judgment that our position requires us to exercise. Now, as far as the name goes, look, some of y'all know I was out on West Florissant when there was thousands of people from all over the country. I did live here. The Little Caesars right up the street from my house was burned to the ground. So ground zero does mean something to me. And we as a city are working hard to move forward in unity, not to forget what happened or where we came from, but to rise above it and move beyond it and move forward as a better city because of what happened and because of who we are. And so the name to me does mean something, and it ain't a good thing. But let me be very clear. You could name that Sugar Babies Barbecue and come in here and ask for a liquor license to serve liquor on Friday and Saturday night till 1:30 in the morning. And just because it's named Sugar Babies Barbecue instead of Ground Zero, don't make that a good thing, because you're still going to have the same problems that we have with late night liquor in the West Florissant corridor. And my personal view is that adding another establishment and possibly bringing in crowds of people who are going to be drinking a lot, I just don't see it as a positive. Now, finally, I have to say one thing in response to my colleague's statement that some members of this council may be anti-business. I've been a small businessman and self-employed for almost my entire life. Mr. Palmer is a businessman. Counselor Lipka, I know, has a business as well, and as does Mayor Jones. So if there's an anti-business sentiment up here, I'm unaware of it, and it would be a very small minority on this council. We are pro-business and we are pro-business in Ferguson, but every business isn't the same. And again, in the case of liquor licenses, it's not just a business license, it's a liquor license. And we have to exercise a different level of discretion and judgment according to our own ordinances when a liquor license is requested. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more from the council? Councilwoman Orr.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that, you know, I personally don't believe that a bar is beneficial in that area. If it was an event center that, you know, offered liquor or a restaurant, but a bar there, you know, we have worked a lot to improve that area. And, you know, I do agree with Councilman Cassoff, a lot of what he said. I have to agree with that. I just don't think that it's going to be beneficial. There is some clarity that I need from, and I want to ask it now while they're here and ask Gabe, if that's okay, Mayor. When a business owner applies for a business license, at that time, does administration ask, will the business sell liquor when they're applying for the business license? And if so, are we asking for the reason? For example, is it going to be a bar and grill, a restaurant, an event center? And I'm just asking because I'm trying to understand the timeline. I mean, you all went into you're renting out the building, and then you start renovating, and then you go to the city and you apply for the business license, and then you apply for the liquor license after that. I'm just trying to understand your timeline, your process of how we got here and why you all, I'm just trying to better understand the situation. So can you?
They're two completely different processes.
Right.
Yes, they do apply for the business license. As long as it's zoned for that business, that type of establishment, then it passes and there's no scrutiny. We don't tell them what they can or can't be named, any of that. They're just granted, yes, you can have this business in that location.
And we, at the time when the business owners apply for the business license, at no time, and I'm just for clarity, we don't ask as an administration, are you going to in the future be applying for a liquor license? Not at that
Not to my
time.
knowledge, at
Not
that
until they
time, it's a
apply.
separate thing to apply for your liquor license.
Okay, I just want to understand. Thank you, Mayor.
We will hear from you, then we'll move to the motion. Councilwoman, and then we'll hear back from you.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep going with where Councilwoman Noah is going because I'm in complete agreement with what she's trying to get at. And I agree in regards to what Mr. Shropshire said when he came up to the podium. I believe that we have a situation where our process is not benefiting us. Our process is not allowing us to partner with entrepreneurs who want to come to Ferguson. And I agree with Mr. Williams in that regard. It's not a matter that we don't want businesses. It's a matter that we as a council have been elected by the people to take care of their communities. And so as a result, we have to be diligent about who we let have businesses in their neighborhoods. So that being said, you know, I strongly believe, like, we have a situation on our books and our ordinances that you cannot open a bar 500 feet from a school or a church. When the Daiquiri Bar wanted to come in right next door to McClure South Berkeley, I led loudly that I didn't want that. I called St. Guadalupe's. I'm like, you guys know this is happening? You might want to get on the council meeting. So, I mean, when it came out, we said no. And unfortunately, that lady had been in the same exact situation you guys are in. She had rented the building. She had put a ton of money in. She had put months of work in. She had bought her machinery, all of these things. I feel horrible for her, but I am not going to allow it near kids. I am not going to allow it near a church. Then we had the situation with Ella's Kitchen, and our current economic development director said, oh yeah, don't worry about that rule, just go ask the church if they'll waive it. And they did, and the church, which is getting ready to be sold because it's not had a congregation in it for so many years, I can't even remember, and it's just always constantly on the market. Anyway, the fact is, whoever owned it at the time said, yeah, I don't care, whatever, they're gonna sell it. So they didn't care. So I didn't vote that way, but this council passed it. And then now we have this conundrum going on there. My point is, I am not going to support this because I don't want it next to the Boys and Girls Club. I don't want it in this neighborhood. I don't want it in this area. I also believe that we are tasked with the responsibility of making sure the neighborhoods are safe, and this is not something that will enhance safety. Now, that being said, as a business owner, I would be extremely ticked off because the process that we have right now is awful. And he said, the gentleman who is on Zoom said himself last council meeting that from day one, the city, the staff, the office, Rachel St. Pierre's office, knew what his intentions were.
Two different offices, business license or finance.
Okay, but the people he's been talking to, so thank you for the correction. The people that he's been talking to since day one has known his intention. And he said they have known his intention for having a bar in this location from day one. And as you gentlemen said, every single application had this name on it for the last 8 months, 10 months. So I guess my concern is if we're not asking those questions at the forefront, then we need to start asking those questions. We need to revamp the process so that we're asking those questions so that they can come and introduce themselves, let the council know what their intentions are, and we can go from there. Because if there's an issue, then we can say, hey, love your idea, but don't really like this, or can we work with you as a city on this or that? That would have saved a whole lot of time and effort. So that's my 2 cents. I have to stick to my morals. I have to stick to my responsibility to the community. And David and I are both council members to part of Forestwood. So I have to pay attention to what those citizens have asked for. But I would also say we are way overdue for a revamp of this process.
You may speak and then we'll have a vote.
I just want to say, although I heard what both of you said from day one, and the person that's on the speaker is my brother, and he's part owner too, so that y'all know that's all that's on there. From day one, when we decided to purchase this building, we went to Ferguson to verify that this place can be an event center, that it can hold a liquor license, that it can be what we wanted it to be. We had no issues. We had no problems, so we moved forward. As we moved forward, we never heard anything until the liquor license came. And by what you just said, and the Councilwoman Lipper just said, that holds to be true. That there was no problem, none at all. We get to this point and we have a problem. I think that that is totally misleading. It's not fair. There's an understanding that something needs to be done and corrected by this young man right here, what he said. I'm not trying to get through the loopholes because I understand this is the city of Ferguson. They do what they want to. I'm also born and raised in Kinloch. All right, my aunt was the superintendent of Ferguson Florissant School District. I have a history here in Ferguson Florissant. I graduated from McClure North. I have a history here as well as the young man that's got the history here. He's also born and raised in Kinloch. My brother, born and raised in Kinloch. We deal with Ferguson on many levels. I am part of history as well as you are. I'm trying to make history. I'm trying to create something good. I'm not gonna go to your venue, you're not gonna go to my venue. That don't mean we can't have a venue. All right? That don't mean we can't be together. We don't need to separate to accommodate one goal. And if you think that's what we gotta do, then we gotta deal with it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. At this time, I entertain a motion for the liquor license new liquor license for Ground Zero. Is there a motion to approve or disapprove? Is there a motion on the floor? Is there?
David moves.
Is there a second? You cannot do that. Is there a second from the council? Is there a second to the motion to approve the liquor license 2 times? Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? 5 times. The motion died on the floor. We move to the renewal of King of Soul. I'm requesting a motion in a second for the renewal of the license for King of Soul.
So moved, Linda Whitman.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. King of Soul license are renewed. Request a motion in a second to approve the renewal of USA Market liquor license.
For discussion.
Let's do a motion in a second and I'll call for a discussion. To a motion?
I'm not, I don't want to.
We could do a discussion after the motion.
So
in a
move,
second.
Laquita Noah.
We could discuss and then we can approve or disapprove.
So move, Laquita Noah.
Is there a second? Discussion. Now we have the discussion.
Did you give a second?
You second. Now you can discuss.
So the question that I have is, so USA Market has been there for many years, and I've been on council now for about 9 years, almost 9. And when Elliot Leepson was the Economic Development Director, I had a lot of complaints from citizens about the lighting that is on the building, because the lighting went in, I would say about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And so I brought it to Elliot's attention, and the lighting is not allowed. It is not approved through ordinance. It's not the type of lighting that is allowed. And so under my understanding, Elliot did let them know that the lighting never got taken down, never got changed, and it's still not allowed. So I don't know if this particular economic development office has had any conversation with the owner about this lighting, but I would like to put this motion on the back burner right now, so that, or deny it at this time, so that we have the opportunity to have our code inspectors, our economic development director, reach out to the owner, let them know, make sure that our office, our current staff knows that they personally had a conversation with this owner to let this owner know that these lights have to come off this building. And I would like to have the opportunity for that to happen before, between now and the next council meeting. If that is achieved, then, and we come back to this, then we approve it. But it seems to me that this is gonna be the only way we can get this owner to actually follow the rules. And I would like to finally have the opportunity for the rules to be followed.
Councilman Castle.
Everybody knows I'm not a fan of these particular establishments, but I have to say that I went and I walked around the building, and it's clean, even in the back where nobody's looking. The fence is in good shape. they're really doing a much better job than similar establishments elsewhere in Ferguson and in other places. I agree with you about the lights. And I would say this, why don't we renew subject to the contingency that the lights immediately be shut off and that they be removed or permanently disabled within 30 days. I would make that motion if this council will entertain it.
Councilwoman Lipka.
So I will say that kind of going to what Councilman Passoff. So back when Elliot Leepson was in the position, so we had a lot of citizens that came to that podium and they were super upset and they were talking about how disgusting the fence was, how disgusting the trash was, how there was all kinds of critters and everything else that were back there and they were crawling through the fence and everything else. And now that I think out loud, they didn't know about their lighting then because they got called out on all this other stuff. So my understanding was that they got code citations and they had to do a whole, I mean, there was a lot of work to be done. I went back there and it was, you could barely get your car through there. It was so disgusting.
And now you could pitch a tent back there.
Right.
It's so nice.
So I did, before I brought this to council, I did go to the business a couple days ago and I drove through and I took pictures. I have pictures of the lighting. One picture it's green, one picture it's blue, one picture it's red, and it rotates through those colors. But when I drove to the back, I was so amazingly pleased. I mean, it is pristine back there. I mean, as best as you can. But he's right, you could pitch a tent, you can do, the dumpster was great, the fence was in good shape, there was no trash anywhere, it was really clean. So that I think shows that they will work with us, but I didn't think about the option that Mr. Kassoff just brought up. I guess I could go with that, but I will say this. If we go with a 30-day timeline of that, who's gonna enforce that? Because, we have rules. Well, you say that, but, we have rules that we put in place for the car dealership or the repair shop on Chambers. It isn't being followed and they're not being made to follow it. We have a used car lot on Florissant Road that's supposed to be, a whole lot better than it is. And they just got, they passed their inspection, but yet it didn't pass the way they said they were going to run business. So I'm confused as to who's running the hen house? Are we actually going to have something that speaks for what we are trying to
I mean,
accomplish?
that's a staff issue.
It is staff, and it comes from community development.
Okay.
And Rachel St. Pierre
Yep.
is the director. So these questions, like you said, they should go to staff. Assistant city manager, would you bring the concerns to staff?
Yeah, if you can send me an email just listing out your concerns, I'm more than happy to address those.
Okay.
But we're getting too many of these concerns
Yeah.
and inconsistencies.
That's what
Can I make a motion?
Yes, first of all, we have a motion on the floor. It could be withdrawn and then you can make a motion. But,
I withdraw my motion.
okay,
for
you
the liquor
withdraw your
license
motion.
for
Okay,
USA Market.
now, you can make a motion.
I would like to move that we grant conditional approval to the renewal of the USA Market liquor license, subject to that the lights will be immediately turned off and that they will be permanently disabled and removed within 30 days.
Is there a second? There's a second. Now you have your question.
What's wrong with the lights?
They're
Not
the
bright enough?
code
annoying,
prohibits
just
it and they look trashy.
So according to code, these lights aren't supposed to be on the building because there is a residential house right next door, like they literally basically share a driveway. And so this type of lighting is not allowed to be within the residential area. And then across the street, there's a apartment complex and behind them they have the light. So They're smack dab in the middle. They're like a little island in the middle of the residential area. Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Ayes have it. One conditional liquor license would be applied to the USA market. I'm requesting a motion in the second for the approval of the renewal of the Sam's Market on 9241 West Florissant. It's on mine. They met. Go ahead.
I'm gonna make the motion, but we're gonna have discussion, right? I have a discussion. So move Naquita Noah.
Is there a second? I'll second it for the question, and I refer to the city manager because they did do everything we asked them to do within a certain amount of time. Even when you say you didn't want assistant city manager.
Yeah, so they addressed the soffit, they addressed the weeds, they did not address the sign because they're redoing the West Florissant Road and they've been told by county that sign is going to be taken down. So they don't want to fix the sign at their cost when St. Louis County is supposed to be taking it away.
Thank you, Dave.
Not a problem.
Councilwoman Lipka.
So I kind of turn this over to you, Councilwoman Noah. This is something that you've been pretty adamant about and wanted changes on. So how do you feel? Are you feeling like this is meeting the requirements of your ward?
Well, I wanted the sign removed, but Dave explained why the sign has not been removed. I just want everyone to understand that the area next to Sam's Meat Market, from what I understand, belongs to the storage facility. So all that overgrowth, that dumping, that trash, that's not Sam's Meat Market. But at the last council meeting, I thought that we extended the license 45 days. Or, not until the next council meeting.
We gave them 45 days to remedy the code violations.
Okay.
It wasn't we were extending their liquor license. You're approving the liquor license this
Well, I
evening.
mean, liquor license application.
Correct.
Okay, that's why I was under the impression that we were extending the liquor license application an additional 45 days, but you're saying we gave them 45 days to remedy the issues. Okay, with that said, I'm fine with it. I just hope, again, we're trying to improve this area, not just that area, but the entire Ferguson. But we all know the stress that this area has encountered and the things that have occurred at Sam's Meat Market. So I just hope that the business owners are listening, and they're working with the city and being respectful of the residents and all of the people who patronize that business. Thank you.
It has been properly moved in second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
And I can't hear it, so
Ayes have it.
the ayes have it, so ordered. At this time,
I just want to real quickly, for the benefit of my colleague, section 36-5, paragraph 5 of our ordinances prohibits moving signs, including strings of light bulbs, even if they're not part of a sign. So that is a violation of our ordinance to have that on a building.
okay.
Section 36-5.
No, I agree.
Councilman Williams?
One of those lights costs $300, just one of them. An electrician, you're gonna pay them about $75 an hour to take one down. I have those same lights on my building. Those lights are not for show. People who do criminal activity, they like darkness. They want it dark. If this is a liquor store, this store would get broken into if it's not enough lighting.
There's lots of lighting that doesn't violate the ordinances. This is not such a light.
We could take that discussion offline at this time. Is Mr. Denny, or is he still here? Okay, let's. The next agenda Next item on the agenda is our proclamation, and I will start with Mr. Denny Barr. Mr. Denny, would you come forward, please? And planning and public works. Public works here? Okay.
But you're younger retired.
Proclamation in recognition of Denny Barr's dedication and service. Whereas Denny Barr began his career with the city of Ferguson on April 15, 1996 in municipal services. And whereas Denny has faithfully and conscientiously served the city of Ferguson and its citizens for over 28 years. These years of service have been marked by exemplary dedication to and the constant betterment of the Ferguson Public Works System, which contributes to the health, safety, and comfort of this community. And whereas Dennis' passion for continued growth is never ending, he has attended various training institutions and have received multiple certifications. This includes CDL, pesticide license, and was a master snow blower. Denny was also appointed crew leader over the mowing crew. And whereas Denny has received numerous commendations for his achievement, his dedication and exemplary service result in exemplary employment of the year award. And whereas Denny has restored himself to those who have worked with him, while his appreciation for service remains, he will retire from the city of Ferguson on September the 27th, 2024. Now therefore, I, Ella Jones, Mayor of the City of Ferguson, along with the City Council and the citizen of Ferguson, do hereby express recognition, appreciation, and gratitude to you, Denny Barr, for his many years of service and dedication to our community, and we extend our best wishes for a long and happy retirement. Let's give him a standing ovation. Council, would
You want to be up here with better lighting?
better light, okay?
Okay.
No. I'll take the photo.
Dave running away.
He needs some water. He's choked.
We do have another proclamation, and it's concerning our good neighbor. And what I am going to do is abridge it because we had community development come out and speak about it. So we have the good neighbor. Whereas current research shows many Americans can suffer from a lack of personal relationship, which leads to isolation, depression, and anger. And whereas one recent study showed that people who know 6 or more of their neighbors have decreased level of social isolation and loneliness compared to people who do not. Whereas research showed that developing positive neighbor relationship positively impact mental health, life expectancy, and physical health for individuals. Whereas good neighbors help to create good neighborhoods and vibrant communities. And whereas we know to have good neighbors, you must first be a good neighbor yourself. Now, I therefore, Ella Jones, Mayor of the City of Ferguson, on behalf of the Ferguson City Council, do here proclaim September the 28th, 2024 through October the 4th, 2024 as Missouri Good Neighbor Week in the city of Ferguson. You are called upon to join us in observing this day by introducing yourself to and getting to know and celebrate your neighbors. I further encourage you to visit the Missouri Good Neighbor Week website to nominate and engage neighbors and report your acts of neighboring kindness as part of the neighboring movement in the city of Ferguson. At this time, we'll move to our resolutions. We have resolution number 2024-43. Acts without objection, we're introduced by Councilmember Cassoff, Palmer, Robinette, and Lipka. Hear none, Attorney Ryan, could you please read the resolution? Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is a resolution amending 2 of the cell phone leases that are on city property, the one at the police station, the one in the back of January Wash Park. They're very similar leases moving forward. And then if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Hear none, I'm requesting a motion in the second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Councilman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Noah.
Resolution number 2024-43 passing. Without objection, we introduced by Councilmember Cassoff, resolution number 2024-44. Hear none, Attorney Ryan, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 2024-44, a resolution supporting the city of Ferguson, authorizing the city manager to enter into and execute a contract with Spencer Contracting Company for 2024 ARPA Street Improvement Project.
Assistant City Manager Musgrave.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This is the resolution to authorize the contractor, Spencer, to do the mill and overlay for all the ARPA streets. Total bill was about 1.8 million, just a little bit under. When we had estimated it previously, it was gonna be about 2 million, so it did come in less than we thought. complete transparency while the community's listening, they will start some of these this fall, but the actual completion date realistically won't be till May of next year because of weather. Asphalt plants do close down in the winter, so we can't get hot asphalt to do this until spring hits. So we'll get as much as we can get done this fall, but most of it will take place in the spring.
I would question the, yes, Councilwoman.
So just for clarity, you said that did you say that the cost came in a little under what was estimated?
That is correct, but that's being absorbed in their speed humps. There's not much left in the ARPA funds at this point. We can give you an update in a week or so.
Okay, you said speed humps?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Okay. All right, thank you.
And we do want to leave a little bit in there for any change orders. There's always that possibility with contractors, so we're not using every dime, but it's going to be close. I'm gonna be honest with you.
But for clarity, all the ARPA money has to be used by the end of 2026.
That's correct, and
Okay, so
it definitely will be.
Okay, thank you.
The money is obligated by December 2024. It must be spent by December 2026. And if it isn't spent, it must go back to the federal.
There will not be a dime to go back.
We not letting any money go back.
We know how to spend money.
Okay, I'm requesting a motion in a second for approval.
So moved.
Second, Linda Lipka.
Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Casa,
Aye.
Councilwoman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Noah,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Resolution number 2024-44 passes. We move to resolution number 2024-44. Without objection, when introduced by Councilmember Casal. Hear none, Attorney Ryan, could you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 2024-45, a resolution of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, levying its rates of ad valorem taxation on taxable property within the city for the year 2024.
Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just the resolution adopting the tax rates that we went over in the special presentation earlier. If there's questions, more than happy to answer them.
I requested a motion in a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Noah,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Casa,
Aye.
Resolution number 2024-45 passes. We don't have any bills for requiring first reading. We move to bills for second reading. We have bill number 7294. I'm requesting a motion in a second to read the bill a second time and place it upon its passage.
So moved.
Second. Linda Lipka.
Attorney Ryan, could you please read the bill by title only?
Bill number 7294, an ordinance amending certain sections within Article 2, Section 20 of Chapter 25 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Ferguson relating to the regulation and issuance of residential rental real estate licensing in the city of Ferguson.
Assistant City Manager Musgrave.
I don't have anything on this one, Mayor. Thank you.
Acting Clerk Chris, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Noah,
Aye.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Casa,
Aye.
Councilman Robinette,
Aye.
Bill number 7294 passes. Do we have any unfinished business? Here none, we move to new business. Do we have any new business? Here none, miscellaneous. We start with Councilwoman North for miscellaneous.
Thank you, Mayor. Tomorrow is the Nesbitt Newton meeting. It's Wednesday, September the 25th at 6 p.m. in Nesbitt Newton Park. Please bring a lawn chair. And the Forestwood meeting will be at Lang Royce Park on Tuesday, October 1, 2024, from 5:30 until 7:30 p.m. Please bring a lawn chair. I just would like to say, respectfully to everyone in the council, the mayor, that, I am disappointed that my response in support of the resolutions 2024-43 and 2024-44 were not considered, because I did respond to the email that it was sent out. It's just not clear why some council members were asked to sponsor the staff bills and others were not. I just want to understand so that I can do things better and be a better council member and representative for this residents of Ward 3. And, earlier it was stated that, maybe the work wasn't done, and I do the work. I was here when the city received the money, the ARPA funding. We've been working on the street project for years now. So just to be clear, it's, this is not to disrespect anyone, but again, just into staff, to the council, now that staff bills will not say introduced by all council members, it's important that we give all council members an opportunity to respond. I think it's important that all council members are emailed, even if a council member initiates, because when the agenda comes out on Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, that's the time that I am able to review the staff resolutions that are brought forth and introduced. Prior to that, I am not, and I'm not sure if other people are privileged to that information or not. So that's just my ask, so that there is transparency and we don't run into this issue again. And again, I do the work, just as well as all of you all do the work. So with that said, I hope everyone is safe and well, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman North. Councilman Palmer,
I have nothing tonight.
Councilman Casson.
Yes, so a couple of weeks ago, I was at Sam's Club and they had a Traeger smoker on clearance for half price, and I bought it. So this Thursday night, 2 days from now, at 6 o'clock at my house at 125 Royal Avenue, we're going to have another episode of Cheers, Jeers, and Beers with smoked pork loin and some sides to anybody who wants to come. So whether you voted for me or not, if you love me or you hate me, if you care about Ferguson and you want to get together with some like-minded people and spend a little time talking about things that are important to you, come to 125 Royal. Thursday, anytime after 6 o'clock, smoked pork loin, whatever beers, we've got people bringing beer, and everybody's welcome. So I hope a bunch of you come on by. We got plenty of room and plenty of pork loin.
And you don't have to drink beer, right?
You don't have to drink a beer if you don't drink beer. And if you're Jewish or Muslim, you don't have to have any pork loin.
Yeah, I'm vegetarian.
You can come by and eschew everything and still come by and be a part. But I hope a lot of you will come by. And again, it's cheers, jeers, and beers. So even if you were rooting for the other guy in the last election, you're still more than welcome, and I hope you'll come.
Thank you, Councilman Castle. Councilwoman Robinette.
I would just like to thank the Ferguson Landmark Commission for the Century Home placking this past Sunday. There were 4 homes that just were incredible. It was a nice day to walk around and see these homes. And as someone who was plaqued, our Century home was plaqued 20 years ago. So, that always has a special place in my heart. Seeing these homes that are brought back to life in many cases, and seeing the pride in the owners, it just as they're showcasing it to people, and we even got to walk through one, which was delightful. So the Landmark Commission. Thank you for putting that on, and it was a truly good event. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robinette. Councilwoman Lipka?
So I have quite a few things. First of all, I would like to let everyone know that on September 28th, it's going to be a busy day in Ferguson. At 1 o'clock, we will be unveiling a tree and a bench and plaque for the Pressner and Spader children who were taken away from us in February by their parent. So we would like to take this opportunity. Our citizens felt very strongly that they wanted to do something in memory of the children and their mom. And so they wanted to donate money and they wanted us to buy a tree. So Dave and I worked hard to figure a way out to do that, and we did. And then Maya Phoenix Wild has worked very closely with us, and the three of us have been able to get the bench ordered, get the plaque done, get the tree ordered, get the tree planted. And then when Dave got promoted, Joseph Seastrom came on board. So really it's all four of us. So we would just like to invite all of you to join us at 1 o'clock at Jusky Park to unveil the bench and everything. And then you can go straight from there to the other Ferguson activities because they start soon after. So also just going to go through my list real quickly. Shirley Emerson, thank you for the petition. Also want to let you know, Ms. Emerson, a lot of people are coming to myself and the Traffic Commission saying, we want a speed hump here. We want a speed hump here. Well, we know you want a speed hump, but we have a process. And the process is we put those streets on our list. We get them on the calendar to do a speed study. And then once we have that speed study and we have a handful of these streets done, we can look at those, go over it with the city staff, the police department, the fire department, and then prioritize. So that's what will happen. So to let you know, I'm going to kind of go off here. So what she mentioned to all of you is that they are very happy with their speed humps, but Fargo, which has always been a quiet street, is now realizing a lot more traffic because people are like, I don't want to go over that speed hump. I'm going to cut through Fargo. So now Fargo is asking for a speed study. So we knew this was going to happen. And that's why I was very adamant to say right up front, this is phase one, there will be a phase two, because we had to see what the response was going to be by the jackasses. We needed to figure out where they're going to go. So now that we know what streets they're going to, this is how we start up phase two. Now, that being said, just let you know, Ms. Emerson, I already sent it to my person. It's already on the list before you even left tonight. I did it while you said it. So it's on the list. One other thing I want everybody to understand is before we had speed humps, we had speeding anywhere and everywhere. They were going down Robert, they were going down Hartman, they're going through Ward 3, all different places. They're going through Ward 2, all different places. They're making Georgia just a fun old way to go. Now that we've put the speed humps, this is kind of on purpose. We're now forcing them out to the main thoroughfares again. So they are being forced to go and start using Florissant Road, start using Elizabeth, start using Hudson, start using Chambers even more. And there's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is there's increased traffic, right? And they're increased by jackasses. But the good thing is now we've got them in a spot. Now it's kind of like catching a rabbit. Now we got them in our area. So our police officers, who a lot of people say don't do their job, which is completely incorrect, because if you'll actually go and look at the reports, our citations go up every single month, and they're going up properly. So now we have the ability for our officers to be able to get these people quickly. We also, added bonus, can now use the data of that increased traffic on these main thoroughfares, which are county roads, and we can go to county council meetings and we can say, fix your damn roads, because we've done our part. Now these jackasses are on your roads, fix your roads in our community. So we kind of are trying to make this happen. And then you also have the improvements getting ready to happen to West Florissant. You have the promised improvements that they've said they were going to do for us on Hereford and Chambers. You've got the improvements that have already happened on Airport. You see the improvements that are going on South Florissant, New Florissant. You see the improvements going on Hudson. Not Hudson, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. So, you know, these things, they can start working with us, but now we have more data to get them to demand their participation in keeping our community safe. So I hope you guys see this process. Going to Erica Brooks's comment regarding Bill 7282, we have had no discussion on that bill because it's dead. It's just dead. I already talked about that. I'm going to talk about that later. I already talked about that. The other thing I would like to ask, and I want to say thank you very much for letting me have a moment tonight to say a prayer for Officer Brown. But I would like to ask that we consider making this a constant in our agenda, that until we see Officer Brown back here with us, that maybe we take an opportunity to always include him in our opening prayer. And, you know, I got to say it tonight, maybe we rotate around and council members and staff can do that as well. But I think it's real easy to be completely involved in the very beginning, but then as they go through the process of recovery and rehab and everything else, it's easy for only a few to remember and be involved. And I think we need to be very persistent and intentional to keep him in the forefront. You know, it's like my husband said to me, and I think it's probably one of the truest things I've ever heard. When our daughter passed away, he was like, yeah, Linda, everybody's going to remember her the first year. He goes, but when it's the 20th year, we're the ones that have the honor of remembering. So I just want us to be intentional of always remembering, you know, Officer Brown. So, and I will also say, I want to say a big thank you to our firefighter who was there in the moment of need for the officer that lost his life. Yeah, Mr. Lee. And actually a very dear friend of the family is a Ferguson resident. So he has connections to us as well. So my heart goes out to him. And I thank you for letting me talk. I am done.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lipka. Councilman Williams.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't grant Ground Zero the liquor license. So most of the people are born, raised in St. Louis. I am not. I'm from Durham, North Carolina, educated in Clark Atlanta University. So I think sometimes we can agree to disagree, but I think we should have gave these people an opportunity and see what happens. I know we don't want our neighborhoods filled with liquor stores on every corner. That's not a good look, but they just were not doing a liquor store. It was going to be an event center. You can get married there. You can rent it out. They have other businesses. I just think we should have gave them an opportunity. I guess I was outvoted, but I think we should reconsider that. This is just not another liquor store. If they don't do right and it tends to be a problem, we can always pull that liquor license and they're out. But a lot of time, if we don't give people an opportunity, I don't know what they can do. You know, that's a tax base, so that's less taxes we have to pay. That can be job opportunities. It can bring other businesses to the area. But I think we just got caught off guard because the liquor license. So this is not a liquor store like some of the others. It's an event center. And during my younger days, I was a DJ. So I spent a lot of times in the clubs DJing. And the Ground Zero name still doesn't really offend me. Typically clubs need like an edgy name so people will come, so it stays on the consciousness, so people will attend that. But you know, I think we need to reconsider that at some time. And you know, it's unfortunately that they spend all this money and they're not going to be able to recoup. I know that feeling to bleed out money and almost not get open, and your life's work and mission goes down the drain. That's a gut-wrenching feeling. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Acting Clerk Chris,
I have nothing this evening.
Assistant City Manager.
4 things real quick, so I don't get my arm twisted tomorrow. Firehouse, we have movies at the Firehouse on Friday. Doors open at 6:30. The movie starts at 7. Don't forget that the Farmers Market is on Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon. Stop by. And they're doing a tailgate for the Chiefs Chargers game at the Ferguson Community Center on Sunday, starting at 3 p.m. I also wanted to mention our city Facebook page was hacked. So don't go to it unless you want to watch from China right now. We are working on getting it back. I don't have high hopes, if I'm honest. We'll probably make a new one. So just wanted to give that update publicly.
And Mr. Musgrave, I think something might have been hacked on our email because one of the emails that came out at the very end of the day got kicked. You sent it to us, I think.
I didn't send anything today.
No, it was your email that went out, but anyway, it's just a whole lot of googly guy on the page.
I know we're having some stuff with our firewalls, but I'm hoping it's straightened out by tomorrow, but I'll keep you guys in the loop.
I stopped trying to send emails until they finish with the system. Attorney Ryan, welcome again. Would you like to share? Well, thank you. What is your request?
I'd like to make a request to the city staff. Could you please have IT go directly to Mr. Williams' house and sit down at his desktop and get that email to work?
Honestly, I'm having a conversation between legal IT for some hurdles right now, but that is the goal.
Okay.
But working on it.
It's really hard to.
I understand. It honestly wouldn't matter right now because none of our emails are working, but that is something we're working through, both David Williams and also Mike Palmer. So it's on my radar.
I just would like to share, it was a lot of conversation tonight about the Community Development Department. And Assistant City Manager, could you please take that information back to the Community Development Department?
Yes, and also if there are direct issues, I know Councilwoman Lipico was naming a few. If you can send me those just so I can know exactly what we're speaking of. I have no problem addressing broad issues, but when you have direct things, that's very helpful.
Okay, in addition to that, Good Neighbor Week is coming up. National Night Out is coming up, so we are going to have a lot of fun coming up in the city of Ferguson, so everyone finds some place to go and meet a neighbor. Other than that, I'm requesting a motion in a second to adjourn.
So move, Naquita.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, we go.
All right, wait, before you guys all leave.
You can't do anything after the meeting is
No,
closed.
all I'm gonna let you know is the Halloween event's gonna come up soon, end of October. And there's thousands and thousands of pounds of candy that are given out by the city of Ferguson, but they cost a lot of money. So if anybody would like to donate to the city of Ferguson, some bags of candy, just take them to the community center. We would truly appreciate it.